Hello, welcome to American Christian or Christian American once again. I'm making this video kind of at the last minute, so to speak, because it's relevant to what's going on right now. Um, I'm going to show you a clip from a podcast that I watch on a fairly regular basis, and it's called The Rational National. And you'll see just a little clip of David Dole. He's a good podcaster. He deals with a lot of different political stuff. He's a Canadian, observes both Canadian and American politics, but usually ours has more of a mess, so he's dealing with ours more. But he shows another clip of the mayor winner of the primary. He's a Democratic Socialist. So I'm going to play this clip and then we're going to talk about it.
Candidates. But let me start here with what is really frightening Republicans and also some Democrats about Zoran Memdani. It isn't necessarily his race, his ethnicity, though they are using that often as a tool to fearmonger, but it's really about how he is deciding to focus on helping the average person.
Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it.
Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of us.
Okay, so we looked at that clip. Now, first of all, I would say I would recommend David Dole as a commentary source. He's one of the people out there I like to watch. Maybe not every episode that I've liked, but I like a lot what he has to say. Anyway, so he interviewed this mayor and he made a statement. He was asked, do you like capitalism? And not really. And people would respond to that in this country. Well, you don't like capitalism. Are you a communist? No. He's a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist. What we have to understand is what that means. Capitalism and communism are two great evils, perhaps on opposite ends of the spectrum in some ways, but they end up with some of the same results. What we have in America is not complete capitalism, thank God. Although we're heading more that way, and it's causes more problems. You see, both in a capitalist type of society and a communist society, we have the problem of wealth gathering at the top. Meaning the people in communist societies who are powerful or have a certain skill, they get wealth by the government's decision. In a capitalist society, if you can conquer and control and own as much business as possible, in fact, if you can become monopoly in a pure capitalist society, you have great wealth. And in fact, in a pure capitalist society, you deny workers as much as possible, leave them in poverty in order for you to have as much wealth. In a communist society, you're told where you can work, many times where you can live. Some of that changes. Some regulations may change. But both of them are extremes. Capitalism with some common sense and some, in other words, a free market system can work as long as you have restraints on how far it can go. For instance, we go against monopolies. We will break them up in order to make sure that there's fair competition. So there's all kinds of things that can be done. We have to stop believing the lies of the people in power who want to keep us down. So naturally they love a pure capitalist society. Now they're going to put that fear out there about a communist society. You don't want communist society where they take away your freedoms. But actually, a capitalist society can take away your freedoms too. When you don't have enough money to live, when you can't afford the rent, when the streets are unsafe to walk on because of the income inequality and all the things going on, when education is being denied, where are your freedoms in that? You see, what we need is a society that, yes, does have certain freedoms in it, but we also need one that backs up public services like universal health care, like education, like other things like that, transportation, and yet encourages business owners to have a business, to sell products that people need, to let people have free ownership of property, which we don't have really because we pay taxes on our property to the very dying breath we have. That's why I'm against property taxes. I think income taxes and sales taxes are much more fair. I don't have a problem with property taxes on businesses because they're using it to make a profit. But I do have a problem with homeowners, at least homeowners up to an acre of land, shouldn't have to pay property taxes. They should maybe pay a small sales tax when they buy their property, but no property taxes. But that's just a side point. That's just one of the things. We don't really have free ownership of land. This society is constantly oppressing people. A communist society oppresses people. Under Donald Trump, who is the major oppressor, he is moving us more towards a communist society or a dictatorship, but in a sense, he's also moving us towards more of a purely capitalist society where all those rights are being taken away. Don't be afraid of the term socialist. Educate yourself to understand. Let's talk about that for a second. Capitalism has nothing to do with democracy. And it has nothing to do with communism. It is an economic system. But communist China has a capitalist society. They changed that because it gave them more profit. And I'm sure they have regulations on it, but they had gone more towards a capitalist economy. So the economic system has nothing to do with whether it's a democracy or not. Now, a communist system where they control all of the financial parts leaves no incentives for people to do better because they don't really get any benefit from the profit. Where a capitalist society or one that is moderated and controlled gives people the opportunity to make better for themselves and yet have fair competition if the regulations are there. It still has nothing to do whether a country is a democracy or not. That's separate. But this is where the Republicans try to really warp your mind into thinking like they want you to think in order to keep control. You see, a democratic society chooses their leaderships by voting. Our America is not a pure democratic society. We are a republic, but though many ways our republic makes it harder to vote. There's all kinds of things that makes our system, and I'll talk about that in another episode. But in a democratic society, the people choose their leaders through a process of voting, however that's done. If the people choose leaders that has a economic system of capitalism that has more social structures in it, like universal health care, like education, those things, the people chose it. Therefore, it is a democracy. Don't confuse the two. You can talk about socialism when you're talking about a communist type society or social issues. So when a person says they're a democratic socialist, they're not talking about taking away the freedom of voting and choosing. They're talking about a system of capitalism that is tamed and structured by social issues. Two different things. But we get caught up with lies because we don't listen enough. We don't study enough. We need to have a better, more freer democratic society, but we need to have a capitalist society that is moderated in order to have regulations that makes it fair for people so the wealthy cannot conquer the poor, like a minimum wage that is set to where it should be today, about $23 an hour, and has the cost of living in there. So if they raise the prices, the minimum wage goes up as well. So it sets a ground to keep things more fair, all right? But we still have the motivation to open businesses and to have motivation to do better, to be competitive, and to create a more society that will grow and mature as opposed to a communist society. Don't confuse the two. Don't confuse when people are talking about healthcare, education, and those things, and then the GOP shows these marching communist people that we're going to go towards a communist society. Don't confuse those two. Donald Trump may think he go that way as a king or as a complete control who will suppress people's right to protest and all those things. He actually will talk about free markets, but he means a completely free capitalist society. So we're talking with Donald Trump, we're talking about the absolute worst of it all. Don't let this world or this country brainwash you. This country has the potential to be the best country in the world, but it is far from it. We have too much history of racism and hate and economic control and keeping people down. Don't let them control the narrative. Think for yourself. You're intelligent. Be intelligent. Be vigilant. And think about what is being told to you. Don't believe it just because they say it. Think about their motives and think about what's really true. Remember, we can be a democratic society, and I hope we can become a better democratic society without all this white supremacy control to keep us down. But we can also have a system of economics that works better for others, that has a free market part in it, but also has the fairness and human dignity associated with it. What do you want? Being a Christian in this country, you should want that type of system where people have a fair chance. Because being a Christian is not about the elite. It's about human beings being together. Don't believe white Christian nationalism. Don't believe televangelists who have hundreds of millions of dollars to their name. They're not interested in the gospel. A preacher, I've said before, should make a living. Should make a comfortable living, not have to worry about things day to day or retirement. But making hundreds of millions of dollars, that should tell you where the motivations are. They're not with God. Many of them are white supremacists. They just hide behind abortion issues and homosexuality and other issues. Not that they may or may not have prudence, but don't let them put moral issues in front of you why they are immoral, why they cut Medicaid and Medicare, try to attack Social Security, try to starve people and to take away the health care so they die, they get ill. That's not moral. Okay? If you're pro-life, you have to be pro-life from day one to the last day. Don't sit here and tell me that you're pro-life and you're against abortion, but yet you don't support education for kids, keeping people safe, giving people a chance in life to do the things that you do and be able to live where they want to live, not be persecuted because of the color of the skin or because of anything else. Don't tell me you're pro-life if you just support pro-birth issues, which the slave owners themselves were pro-birth. They had breeding farms to produce more children. They weren't pro-life, but if all you claim is birth is pro-life, you are wrong. That's only part of it. That's a beginning. I still don't advocate for government to dictate it, but I do believe, I don't believe in abortion, but I'm not going to ask the government to dictate it. That's up to the churches to teach it. But if you're going to have pro-life stance, everything along this line has to be included. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about your pro-life stance. You're not pro-life. You think it's all you're pro-life, and you elect Donald Trump, and you think about Donald Trump as pro-life when he is murdering people, when he's taking away their health care, when he's making the rich richer and richer. You're not pro-life. I don't want to hear it from you. Let's be in this together. This is a journey that we all are in. The question is, where are you trying to direct the boat? I hope you'll try to direct it towards God and towards treating humanity with the love and respect that all of us should be treated, and working together to build a better society that is godly, truly godly, and truly cares about all of its citizens, regardless of whether they do what you want to do or you think is what God wants them to do. You still care about the welfare of the citizens of this nation and this world. Until the next time on American Christian or Christian American.